Greetings and welcome to episode 160 of the Words About Gamescast, the weekly video game podcast for wordsaboutgames.net. It's not words, it's just Words About Games. You can go to wordsaboutgames.net, it exists. But all we do is dump our YouTube videos on there. I'm your host, Amy Alexander. I'm joined this week by Keith Robinson.
I return to you at the turning of the tide.
You kind of did. It's a lot better this week than it was last week.
Apologies for last week, but my computer
I
decided.
can't hear you anymore though because my speakers have gone off. It's not a you thing.
Oh,
The wiring in my speakers is to the point where I've got to knock it sometimes to keep sound in my speakers. So I look like shit, right? And I'll tell you why. So my sleep schedule hasn't been great this past, I don't know, month, few weeks. Feels like a while. So I was like, I had a rough day, like a pretty hard day. So I was like, I'm gonna have a nap before the podcast, but it's fine. So I set my alarm, so I wake up in perfect time to get up, to put these notes together, so Keith can have a read through them, and then we could do a podcast. It's a respectable hour. I mean, it's still a respectable hour, in fairness, in my defense, but I totally didn't wake up. I think we were meant to be shooting for starting about 7:30, and I woke up at like 7:30, and I was like, Keith, I got a message of Keith, hey, just yell whenever you're ready, and I was like, shit. Like face down, puddle of drill, like I'm not sure what year it is, that kind of waking up.
What year is this?
It was weird though. Like I had a dream.
I had a dream of days gone by.
I don't know whether it's HRT or not, but I've been having like really vivid dreams. Like normally I'll remember like fragments of a dream, whereas like these are like almost like movies. I mean that don't make any sense because they're dreams, right? But like I had a dream where me and Russ were exploring Bolton, looking for the perfect burger.
Okay.
And there was a roller coaster.
I was gonna say this is sounding more like a memory of yours than a dream.
There was a cinema inside, like a Helter Skelter, like from a fair.
Yeah.
It looked like a Helter Skelter, but it was a cinema. Russ kept convincing me we were gonna get stabbed, which is probably about right for Bolton.
Well, yeah.
And at some point we were on a yacht, despite the fact that Bolton is inland. So that was weird. And then I was jerked up. When I woke up, I thought it was Monday. I thought I was waking up on Monday morning, like planning my day out. If it hadn't been for your message, it probably would have taken me a little while to like snap to the fact that it was Sunday afternoon, evening, night, something. Anyway, that was weird. That was me 30 minutes ago. I'm fucking hungry though.
Fair enough.
I'm gonna call up Russ and see if he's free. Go and get burgers. You want to try? Hey Russ, you want to go on a road trip?
We're going to Bolton. Wait, what?
Yeah, we're going to Bolton. Wait, what?
We can probably get you there in about an hour.
Probably. Also, Call of Duty Modern Warfare is coming out again, apparently. Like, they're calling it Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Point Amy. I want to sneak that in because I'm not doing a news story about it, but
yeah,
it's funny because I predicted it at the beginning of the year. Technically, I predicted it at the beginning of last year. Keith, do you have any idea what the Words About Gamescast actually is?
Yes.
No. Do you not want me to read this thing then? I guess.
I'll let you read it because other people may not know.
Other people may not know that we discuss every week 5 topics around gaming, the games industry, and games culture before we close out with a list of the games that are coming out this week. This week, we discuss April's NPD figures, sexy stuff, Microsoft's 2-hour-long E3 press conference, the US Senate loot box bill gaining bipartisan support, a pair of interesting PlayStation stories, and Razer shutting down the PlayStation killer Ouya. As always, if you want to watch this podcast backwards or in any order you want, the timestamps are in the description below the video on YouTube. It's a slow news week. The E3 leaks have not been coming as forthcoming as they have been in years past. Where's Walmart Canada when you need them? To leak Forza Horizons 5 and Splinter Cell.
They're probably looking very worriedly, at the lawyers.
Yeah, we need to put up the pre-order pages for, Super Mario Maker 2. No! The last time we tried to do something like that, we leaked an entire year's worth of games. We can't do that. Someone will push a button or spill a Coke on something. And it'll be I didn't know this was going to be a thing. Oh, this game. Oh, wow. Modern Warfare. Wait, is it 2007 again? Delete that one. That can't be right. Literally called Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Maybe package. That was the word I was looking forward to, the original.
No, they already did that a couple of years ago. Remastered the first one. I think it'll be the second one. Weirdly enough, I think if they're gonna package a remaster with it, I think the second one hasn't been done yet. So you get that even more confusing situation. It comes with Modern Warfare 2. Wait, you're giving me 2 new car games at once? No. We're giving you the new first one and the old second one. And then everybody's just like... Keith, number 1, NPD April 2019. I've done the usual thing. I've taken the 2 top 10 lists that we actually give a crap about here on this show, and I've copied some of the notes. These aren't my notes, these are the notes of Matt Piscatella. You should go follow him on Twitter. Everybody should go follow him on Twitter. He's really cool. And he does these breakdowns every month. For our viewing pleasure, the top 10 best-selling games for April 2019. At number 1, we have Mortal Kombat 11. At number 2, we have Days Gone. And then everything below it didn't come out in April, because April was actually quite a slow month. So at number 3, MLB 19, The Show. Number 4, we had Tom Clancy's The Division 2. At number 5, we had Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. At number 6, we have Grand Theft Auto 5. Anyone predicting that Grand Theft Auto's place on these charts would be taken up by Red Dead Redemption 2 was totally mistaken. There's no numbers with this. Number 7, we have Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. At number 8, we have Call of Duty Black Ops 4. At number 9, we have NBA 2K19. And at number 10, we have Yoshi's Crafted World, which I thought was quite nice.
I just have a brief question.
Okay.
Do we think when PlayStation 5 comes out, Grand Theft Auto 5 is going to shoot back up the charts? Or is it just going to,
No, it'll still somehow be in the charts every fucking month, but they won't re-release it on PS5 and Xbox Scarlet. It'll just somehow still... Who keeps buying this?
It does make you wonder, because the game is how old now? 4 years?
So the game originally came out the same year as The Last of Us. So I'm pretty sure the game originally came out in 2013. On PS3 and Xbox 360. And then it was...
This game outlasted 2 generations.
And then it nearly. It was ported over to PC. And then it was ported over to Xbox One and PS4. They haven't ported it to Switch yet. So there'll be a surge. That'll struggle keep it alive, right? They'll port it to Switch. Just as it starts dipping, and then it'll be on Switch, and I'm like, fuck, gotta buy it on Switch. Did you know, I've noticed something.
Yeah.
Right? Because I've been looking into a few games that I missed through the year. Indie games. And I've been looking at places to buy them. And literally, almost every game on Switch costs more than it does on Steam or on PS4 or on Xbox or on the Epic Games Store.
Yeah.
What the fuck? That's bullshit, man. Like, you got to pay extra few quid just to get it on Switch. So I was like, oh, cool. Like, this game's on Switch. I'll be one of those people. I'll buy it on Switch, right? I've got an Elgato, I've got Ouya. It doesn't matter what platform I buy it on to make footage, to make a video. I'll buy it on Switch because I like my Switch. And then I was like, well, I was looking at like games and I was like, well, no, I'm not going to buy it on Switch because it's an extra 5 quid. I'll just buy it on my fucking PS4 or whatever. The fuck, man? I was looking at the game first, Ultimate Chicken Horse. That was what kicked it off. Because I was like, oh, I'll get it on Switch because I've got my controller, you've got the Joy-Cons, I've got the Joy-Cons, like, there's tons. Nah. It's more expensive. What the fuck? Anyway, that tangent aside. Mortal Kombat 11, best-selling game of April. It was basically between that and Days Gone. And Mortal Kombat 11 was on more platforms, so... Is anyone truly shocked?
It's also a stable series of that game.
Yeah.
Not my cup of tea on a couple of aspects. One of them being I don't do fighting games. But I know it's a heavy hitter. There are people out there who just adore that series.
Oh, absolutely. It's like when we were talking about Jump Force back in February. Like, it's got its own audience. Mortal Kombat's got its own audience. Like, fighting games have got its own audience. And we don't talk about them a lot on Words About Games because we don't have a fighting game person. Like, I did Injustice 2 and I fucking loved it, but that was because I'm a massive DC nerd. Like DC Comics. So that's why I was like, I'm getting into this one. Like, I had MK11. Like, I showed the disc on that podcast where we were talking about Crunch. And I never played it. It's gone now. Like, I sent it back. But yeah, fair play to you if you do. I had Days Gone. And I mean, that wasn't very good. Like, but PlayStation owners buy PlayStation exclusives. We've said it hundreds of times in this podcast. My chair is like slowly going forwards. It's weird. I'm getting slowly closer. And like by the end of the podcast, I'll just be here like, hello. Let's talk about the Ouya. Anyway. It's cool to see Yoshi's Crafted World hanging on in the top 10. But much like PlayStation, Nintendo owners buy Nintendo games. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's still there. And everybody was giving me shit because I was like, Pokemon's going to break records when it comes out at the end of the year. I don't know if it will, you know. I don't know if it will. Smash Brothers is... it will be a formidable opponent for it in terms of sales figures. Sekiro's still in there as well.
Yeah.
And the Division 2, which is obvious.
The fact that Pokemon will be divided between the two different games as well.
Yeah. Yeah, we should find out what those divisions are. If they delay it, I'm going to be pissed. Not just because it's got a prediction. Blown a prediction. Because somebody needs to beat Tom. It's just how it is. The top 10 year to date, from January 1st to now. Kingdom Hearts 3 still reigns supreme at number 1. Yeah. Incredibly amazing. I never would have called that in a million years. Mortal Kombat 11 goes straight in at number 2. Tom Clancy's The Division 2 is at number 3. Anthem is 4th. Resident Evil 2 2019 goes at number 5. Number 6... number 6 is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Number 7 is Red Dead Redemption 2. Number 8 is Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. Number 9 is Jump Force. And number 10 is MLB 19, The Show. Kingdom Hearts 3. Damn.
Yeah, no strange parenthesis.
Yeah. No, that's just the third one.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't call it that. Kingdom Hearts 3, the third one.
Kingdom Hearts 3, no subtitle.
No subtitle.
That makes it a subtitle. Ah!
Why?
I want a game to do that now.
I want a game to do that really badly. Someone will. It'll happen eventually. It'll be like that time we got that Dead Rising DLC. Where it was like, Dead Rising, Super Mega Alpha.
Yes. It's like, we can't actually fit all of this on the front of the game.
Oh, that was great. When you went into the store entry for it, and it was just like fucking huge title. But yeah, no, like God, that's incredible. Like, good job for them. Again, it wasn't really anything I was going to get into, if not just for the convoluted story that I hadn't been following. Like, if I just dive in now, it'll be like,
Yeah.
wandering around Bolton looking for a burger.
Yeah,
On a
there
roller
are videos
coaster
online that
anyway.
explain the story to you, but like even then, you kind of get lost.
I think the
Then you're
people
looking at
making the
wikis,
videos,
conspiracy theories, and
I
you've got
think
a map on the wall with all these strings attached to that.
the people making the videos probably get lost off like, shit. Mortal Kombat 11 went straight into number two, which means it must have sold quite well. It jumped the Division 2.
Yeah.
Like, if you'd have asked me, like, up to now, what the best selling game of the year was going to have been, I would have said it would have probably been the Division 2. So the fact that it's in a third surprises me somewhat, which is still good. Like, I mean, Anthem's still at number 4. It wasn't in the top 20 for the month. So, like, its sales from, and it didn't meet its sales expectations. So it's like its sales from launch are obviously like keeping it in place, but I'd be surprised if it was in the top 10 by the end of the year. Resident Evil 2, my favorite game of the year so far, hanging in there on there. If it wasn't based on dollar amounts, I wonder how high it would actually be in terms of number of units sold.
Yeah.
And then Jump Force and MLB 19, I really like. Like, I don't like either of those games. Like, they're not my cup of tea. But I look at them and I'm like, that's really cool. Like, these niche games are like represented.
Well, like almost halfway through the year, and it's still there. Kinda, because we're physically halfway through the year, but this is still April.
Yeah, it's still April. Like, but in May, it's like Rage 2 is out, and then nothing. Really, like big AAA will hit the NPD, and then in June, there's only really Super Mario Maker 2, but that comes out with like 2 days before the end of the month.
Yeah.
Of
course, there is always the possibility of and it's available right now.
Yeah! Yeah, we do have
something like Ori, did they just go, and it's available right now? Then you can just chuck, like, a lot of stuff. It's like, okay, yeah, that game's going to come all the way up.
I mean, that would be cool. Might be why we don't have a release date yet. There's some notes on here, but you've given me the only one that I really like, kind of think, is cool. Is the thing about Mortal Kombat 11, which is the first time a third-party published Nintendo Switch game was the platform's top seller in a month since Ubisoft's Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle topped the Nintendo Switch chart in September 2017. Like, that's pretty cool. This doesn't happen often. Like, the best-selling Switch game isn't a Nintendo game. Like, since the last time it happened was like a year and a half ago. And even then, it was Mario plus Rabbids. Like,
yeah, it's like a Nintendo tie-in game because Mario, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a spin-off, but it just happened to be made by Ubisoft. Oh, I hope we get Mario plus Rabbids too. Anyway, speaking of E3, because that was the segue you gave me for the next story, Microsoft's press conference will be 2 hours long. There's no news story. There's no huge breakdown. There was a tweet where someone looked at the thing and they've got a 2 hour slot for their press conference, and that's like the longest press conference they would have ever done. Some of them have felt longer, but none of them have actually been 2 hours long. So like we can speculate on Microsoft a little bit. I think it's next week we'll be doing our big like rampant E3 speculation video, so like not too much. But the first thing I want to ask you is this a good idea?
They have no competition. They could go short and sweet, or they could go out to like load the stage. If they've got a load of other publishers and stuff, and they do now have a lot more publishers working for this party, they could just like go out and show a load of different like, oh, we're going to show like a 2 minute like 30 video of like one game from each of the publishers we've got, like or like 10 different studios, and that would quickly like fill it up. And if they like did a couple of sizzle reels in between them,
I need Xbox.
yeah,
I love those sizzle reels. That was where we first saw Cuphead for like 2 seconds
yeah.
in a sizzle reel.
Like,
What the fuck was that?
I mean, there's some stuff I'm expecting to see at E3, and I'm kind of expecting to get like release date announcements.
Yeah, you'd hope, right?
Yeah, so it's like, I mean, one on the top of my head is, unless say Epic is doing a thing at the PC games thing, I expect to see Control
Control.
on the Xbox stage.
Well,
Like,
Control's in a weird space. Like, there's a few games, like Neo 2's in a weird space too. There's a
yeah,
bunch of games that last year were at the PlayStation
yeah,
conference, and Control was one of them,
okay,
where it's like, where did they go, right? Like,
yeah,
where do they go now? Because it's like to me, Call of Duty is fascinating, right?
mhm,
Because Xbox famously lost the marketing rights to Call of Duty a few years ago from PlayStation. So for like
yeah,
the last few years at E3, if you want to see Call of Duty, right? It's you mean the PlayStation show, right?
mhm,
There's no PlayStation show,
yeah,
and as far as I know, PlayStation still have the marketing rights for Call of Duty. So where's it gonna be? like like by default you would say the Xbox thing, but if they don't have the marketing rights, like then they're not gonna
mhm,
show it. Like it's a weird thing. Like they're not gonna be in the Nintendo Direct, right?
yeah, no,
And if we take PlayStation at face value and say like, oh, they're not doing a state of play, then
mhm,
where the fuck do some of these things go?
yeah,
It's crazy. It's weird. I don't know, man. I mean, Control needs to have an E3 presence purely because it's coming out in August. So like a month and a half later, like it's 2 months. Like it's coming out. 2.5 months. A month and a half would be July. So that's cool. But there's two things that worry me about this runtime. One, 2 hours is just too long in general.
mhm,
Because we've seen conferences go for that long, and it's just even if Microsoft have wall to wall like awesome things to talk about,
yeah,
is it just too long for us to be sitting there like being like blasted right trailers and
yeah,
the occasional bit of corporate speak and Phil Spencer's awesome T-shirt blazer combos like that would be my first worry, like that it's just too long, full stop. Um, because it wouldn't be punchy. It couldn't be punchy. It's 2 hours long. Fuck's sake. If it was punchy, you'd be exhausted halfway through. And then my second worry would be that they're going to fill the extra space up doing like deep dives into Project X Cloud and
yeah,
next generation consoles.
yeah,
Like Project X Cloud is, in terms of like me being excited to see the Xbox press conference at E3, Project X Cloud has been hanging over me like a black cloud. Like I'm really worried they're gonna go so far into it, and I'm just gonna be sat there like, this is cool, but this is E3.
yeah,
Like talk about this next month. Do an inside Xbox about Project. Nah, I've got this worrying feeling that they're gonna show it, and I'm gonna be like, I'm not interested
yeah,
in game streaming right now. I'm
mhm,
not like when we talked about Stadia, I was like, it's a great idea, and for
yeah,
people who live in fucking South Korea, it'll be amazing.
yeah,
But, like, and it's like the same with XCloud. It's like I guess I'm the weird one in that I don't really have any interest in playing Gears 5 on my mobile phone.
yeah,
Like I have a big screen TV and a gaming monitor. I want to play my games on my big screen TV on my gaming monitor.
mhm,
And then like if they go too really deep into talking about the next generation console, which probably won't be coming out until next year, it's like,
yeah,
yeah, that's cool, but we've still got like more than a year till we get there. Like I want you to tell me what I want to be excited about now, not
yeah,
what. Like talk about it, sure, do the thing you did with the Xbox One X. Hopefully you
mhm,
do make another uncompressed pixels comment and I can dine out on that with sarcastic comments for like a year.
yeah,
But I don't know. Those were my concerns when I was like when I saw this.
Yeah.
The other one is it's just 2 hours of awesome games, and my face melts off, and I'm like, oh my god, holy shit, things I never expected. Halo's coming out tomorrow. What?
It's it's like halfway through Ori and the Will of the Wisps is out now. Wait, did that just happen?
We'll be sat here doing our reactions.
Now,
like,
Hugh comes on the stage. Wait, what? Yes, Microsoft is partnering with Nintendo for their streaming service.
There's rumors. Especially after the PlayStation thing.
Yeah.
That they're trying to work out a deal with Nintendo as well. And I mean, we've talked about rumors that they were wanting to bring Game Pass to Switch.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't bring games, assumedly.
Yeah. We're bringing the Halo's Master Chief Collection to Switch.
Via Project xCloud.
Boom! Games on Gold will not only be available on Switch.
Well, yeah, I mean, we laugh and joke. Like, imagine if they brought, like, Ori and, like, stuff like that to Switch via Game Pass. That's amazing already. Cuphead just came out on Switch. But, and then you imagine, wait, what if it goes in the other direction, too? Like, what if it's not a one-way street where, like, Microsoft stuff comes to Switch? What if, like, Switch stuff comes available to Xbox players? Like, what Switch stuff? I don't know. Like, imagine, though. Just imagine it. Mario plus Rabbids 2. Oh, and it's available in Game Pass. Sorry, what? Now you've got my attention with the streaming stuff. So let's speculate a bit about Microsoft.
That wasn't speculation.
About the actual conference, the actual content of the conference itself, you massive pedant. Gears 5's obviously going to be there, and we're obviously going to get a release date for it because it's supposed to come out this year. Which is cool. Like, I like Gears 4.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Gears of War 4. They're actually calling Gears 5 Gears 5. But I'm way more interested to see if Gears Tactics still exists.
Yeah.
Because that looks really cool. Like, it's exactly my kind of game. And that's how you get me into the Gears franchise. Because for some reason, despite the fact that I love third-person shooters, I just bounce off that franchise every time.
Yeah, it was going back to play the first game, wasn't it?
I think that didn't help. Playing the first game like years and years after it came out and being like, this is really clunky.
Yeah. Me playing the third game without any context on the rest of the franchise didn't help either. So you kind of damned if you did, damned if you didn't.
Yeah, we fucked up. Really, we fucked up.
It was a free game with my console. Of course, I couldn't play it.
Yeah, of course. I'm trying to think what else. There's obviously, how much Halo do you think we're going to see? Halo Infinite. Do you think we're going to see?
I'm not sure. I mean, it's been a while. It's been a long time since Halo.
Sorry.
Don't get me singing Stained on the channel again.
It's been a while. Sorry. It was meant to come out last year, like, because it's been on this 3-year cycle for so long. Like, the 3-year cycle should have come up last year, and it didn't. And all we know about the game is it's being powered by the Slipper Space engine, which was apparently really impressive, according to the trailer. The not even a trailer that we saw.
Yeah, it's so impressive. It is actually a Slipper Space engine.
My Xbox is making weird noises. Fuck!
Well, not sure what's happening. There keeps being these implosions at people's houses. The Xbox is gone.
I'm looking forward to it. I hope we see gameplay.
Yeah, that would be cool. I'm hoping for a trailer.
Yeah.
For the game to come out before the next generation.
No, probably not. But it'll be cross-compatible. It will be. Microsoft have got a big boner on for cross-compatibility between their console. They're generations at this point.
Yeah, at this point, it does look like it's going to be a Breath of the Wild, where it's like it's waiting for the new generation. It's like, oh, it's ready right now, but we'll hold off a bit because we're putting it on the next system.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure they rebooted the development at some point.
Oh, they must have done. They must have done.
By the way, they've been talking about it. I guess where you're coming from. Actually, now that you said it and I think about it, gameplay would be awesome. And normally I'm the person who's like, give me gameplay. I don't give a shit about your story trailers. But I feel like I want a story trailer for it more because I want to know what the fuck they're planning to do with it. Like,
who is the main character?
yeah, don't give
Is
me
there
none of
more
this.
than one again?
Don't give me none of this dual protagonist shit again.
Yeah, you've done it twice now and it didn't work.
Yeah,
You know,
make this the Halo 3, the triumphant comeback story for the single player. Ori and the Will of the Wisps will be a thing at the conference. Do you think it's going to be available now? Or available on
that would be awesome.
Like, you mentioned it, so I'm just curious to know whether
Yeah,
that was a joke
I mean, it would be awesome if it's available right now. Last time we only saw it. I mean, I saw a little bit of gameplay, didn't we? Because
Yeah.
I've seen the different forms of combat.
Yeah, it was like a trailer, It wasn't a gameplay thing. It was more coherent than Anthem. Than Anthem's whatever the fuck Anthem's gameplay reveal was.
That's not saying a lot.
But yeah, we saw the new weapons and the new combat and whatnot. So it'll be nice. It'll be nice just to see it again because I've been hoping for it at every Inside Xbox episode and never seeing it. But they've got to show it at E3. Do you think we'll see any of the studios, the new studios, and what they're working on? Hellblade was a while ago.
Yeah, I am. I'm hoping to see some like two things. One of which is what Ninja's been working on, and the other one is
Ninja Theory, not Ninja the streamer.
Yeah. I was discussing it with you the other night as well when you were here.
I don't recall this conversation.
Yeah, no, it was like a company we hadn't seen like 4 years since they got enough to work on.
Rocksteady.
Yeah, that was it.
Batman.
Yeah, that was it.
Batman. Justice League.
Amy's been streaming this, which had kind of put back into my mind that we hadn't seen them do anything for a while.
It's been in my mind for ages. They tweeted out a while ago because there was a leak. I can't remember if it was there was the leak about the Harry Potter RPG.
Yeah,
which we might see. That would be cool. And everyone was like, Rocksteady's making it because that's why they've gone radio silent and they're not making a DC game. And then Sefton Hill came out and was like, no, we're not doing a Harry Potter thing. We're doing our own thing and you'll see it.
Yeah.
And then they said something just before the Game Awards because I think everybody was expecting the Game Awards to be the thing.
Yeah.
Where it was like, because it'd been that long, like, surely Rocksteady, you've got to be ready. And then they were like, no. But it'll be soon. And I took soon to mean E3. And typically that's where we've seen reveals. But typically we've seen their reveals in the PlayStation show. So that's why we got Arkham Knight. We got a cool thing with the diner and Joker's body. I'd like to hope. I don't care what they're working on. I just want to see it and play it because it'll be cool. I'd like to see the Harry Potter RPG. The other one that's circling around, the rumor mill, and this one's a weird one. And I don't know if you've heard this one, but it's true as well. Like it's half true. It's a half truth, and then it lines up with rumors. Is that George R.R. Martin, author of the Game of Thrones? It's not called Game of Thrones, and if Tom was here,
Song of Ice and Fire, is it?
That's the one. Has been working with a Japanese developer on a game. That's the truth. That's what he posted in his blog. Now, the rumor has been for a little while that George R.R. Martin has been working with From Software on a game, and it will be revealed at the Xbox E3 press conference this year. I hope it's not a Game of Thrones game.
It would be really cool if it wasn't.
I think it would be. But, like, From Software is a really strange fit for George R.R. Martin. who in his books goes into so much detail about every little thing. And then
Yeah.
From Software, who don't really tell stories like in the traditional sense, like it's all lore based stuff. It's like one of those two things aren't compatible. So
Yeah.
it's really interesting to me that that might be a thing.
Because it's going to be one of the things where you need like an app on your phone or something, and it gives you all the law and the cards that come up.
Yeah, that's generally historically been proven to be quite a popular way to get a story through, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never heard of that backfiring on anyone.
No.
We'll talk more about it like next week in a special E3 predictions and speculation video.
Yeah.
I just thought it was worth touching on because it's now E3 and it was a thing that happened and it was a slow news week.
Yeah.
Speaking of news, United States loot box bill receives bipartisan support. See, you missed a week and we didn't come up, and then you came back and we get to talk about loot boxes again. How excited are you? This is from Brendan Sinclair over at GamesIndustry.biz. This is actually our first news story of the week. Who writes, as promised, Missouri Senator Josh Hawley introduced legislation into the US Senate last week, seeking to ban loot boxes and pay-to-win mechanics in games for children. Hawley has found two original co-sponsors for the Republican senator's proposal, and both are coming from the other side of the aisle. Democrats Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut and Ed Markey of Massachusetts have signed off to the bill. Quote, only the addiction economy could produce a business model that relies on placing a casino in the hands of every child in America with the goal of getting them desperately hooked, Hawley said. I am proud to introduce this landmark bipartisan legislation to end these exploitative practices, end quote. Markey added, quote, today's digital entertainment ecosystem is an online gauntlet for children, inherently manipulative game features that take advantage of kids and turn playtime into paytime. Fuck, that's good. Should be out of bounds, end quote. Do you know how to turn a phrase?
Yeah.
Like, that's a good phrase. That's a good one.
Doesn't politicians do well as rhetoric?
Yeah. Blumenthal noted the bipartisan nature of the legislation. I've just accidentally pushed the button. Pause. If we don't move, they won't know. Blumenthal noted the bipartisan nature of the legislation and called the monetization practices reprehensible, saying, quote, Congress must send a clear warning to app developers and tech companies. Children are not cash cows to exploit for profit, end quote.
Is that right?
The Entertainment Software Association released its own statement on the bill, with CEO Stanley Pierre-Louis saying, quote, this legislation is flawed and riddled with inaccuracies. It does not reflect how video games work, nor how our industry strives to deliver innovative and compelling entertainment experiences to our audiences. The impact of this bill would be far-reaching and ultimately prove harmful to the player experience. Not to mention the more than 220,000 Americans employed by the video game industry. We encourage the bill's co-sponsors to work with us to raise awareness about the tools and information in place that keep the control of video game play and in-game spending in parents' hands rather than in the government's, end quote. You're really going to appeal to Democratic Party candidates about small government. Don't know how that's going to go for you. The Senators released the full text of the bill last week, which prohibits publication or distribution of games with pay-to-win mechanics or loot boxes in, quote, minor-oriented games, or any game where the company, quote, has constructive knowledge that any users are under age 18, end quote. It makes exceptions for any program where the user's interactions are limited to selecting options from a menu of choices, or any program that would not be considered a game by a reasonable user. The bill's definition of pay to win includes offerings that ease a user's progression with content that could be earned without purchases, as well as letting a player pay to skip cooldown timers or buy additional lives/gameplay attempts. It also includes any purchase in a game featuring competition between players that gives one player an advantage over those who don't spend money. The bill makes specific exemptions for harder difficulty mods, purely cosmetic items that give no gameplay advantage to a user, and DLC that can only be purchased once and doesn't otherwise give competitive advantages or help players progress easier. As for the definition of a loot box, The bill would apply to any add-on transaction that adds a feature or enhances entertainment value in a randomized or partially randomized fashion. It also specifies any system where buying something unlocks the ability to buy other things that users aren't informed about before the initial transaction. That was me. Sorry, internet. That was me putting my iPad down on the desk really clumsily. There's a lot to unpack.
There is. I mean, I did make a note on this, which was as I dislike the game industry, it's bound to end well.
This,
But and like this won't end with the loot box icon on a box, which is kind of what we've got.
yeah, that's
It's
what
kind
the ESA is a pathetic
Yeah.
attempt at avoiding this was, right? Like they were like, we're just gonna put this thing on the box, right? We cool?
Yeah.
We cool? Like, I mean, we said as much. No, we ain't cool. Like, you fucked up. You fucked up big style. The games industry, not necessarily the ESA. Like,
Yeah, you say like this is something like this is the minimum we could do. No, the minimum we could do is not like let's not do nothing. Let's stick a thing on the box. It tells people when they look at the box, if they actually look at the ESA ratings and everything, that is like loot boxes or like monetization on it. Okay, yeah, this is still going through legislation though because people aren't happy.
because this isn't stopping the issue. Like,
No.
the there should have been like non-stop Star Trek style red alert klaxons going off at the ESA as soon as that guy from Hawaii said what he said.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason the phrase, an online themed Star Wars themed casino that is designed to lure children into gambling. For one, there's a reason I can still remember what he said like nearly a year and a half later. But also, like, there's a reason that was such a powerful statement because he wasn't talking about just games and he wasn't talking about just gamers. He was talking about kids. And at that point, all the alarms have to be going off at the ESA, and it doesn't seem like they were. Like, and then you've got like EA like having a hazy fit about Belgium, and it's just like, guys, you've got a bigger issue coming to you. You need to you can't be this short-sighted. And now here we are, and like this goes so far beyond just loot boxes, like, and so far beyond what you might have reasonably expected them to try and legislate for. Like, it's not just banning loot boxes; it's banning with any like random chance microtransaction, any pay to win mechanics, like any pay to win mechanics, like in multiplayer games, by the looks of it. Like, so like reading into this and stuff. At first, I was thinking about something like, say, Assassin's Creed Odyssey's. The thing that was in it, the booster, the permanent boost that you could buy that would like permanently boost your leveling, your XP, your gold, and whatnot. But it looks like that's actually
Cover.
Yeah, because like there's a specific exemption for harder difficulty modes.
Yeah.
So it might be covered, but it also might not be.
Like you can make the game as hard as you like, but if you try to make the game easier by say selling an easy mode,
like skipping content. Payment there uses progression with content that could be earned without purchases. Well, you can't really earn the booster without purchase. I don't think. I suppose you could, because you could get Helix credits and buy the booster with Helix credits. By the time you got enough Helix credits to buy the booster, it wouldn't be worth buying the booster. And it would be 25 or 3. And we'd be facing down the heat death of the universe, but you can technically do it. Because it doesn't give a competitive advantage, because there's no competitive element on Assassin's Creed Odyssey, because it's a single player thing. Basically, the ESA is right. This is riddled with flaws. But the problem is, you should have seen this coming, and you should not. Like, we knew in 2017 when they were talking about exploring the possibility of introducing legislation, we knew it wasn't going to be good legislation. We knew it was going to be flawed. And at that point, you should have been doing everything in your power to avoid it. But it's like I said to you a couple of weeks ago, if a AAA publisher has the choice between making a shit ton of money, like, over the long term, or making a mega shit ton of money in the short term and fucking themselves in the future, they'll choose making all of the money now and fucking themselves in the future. That's what they did by continuing to use loot boxes. when they knew the politicians were gunning to make this an issue about kids getting into gambling.
Yeah.
And they didn't course correct. They dug their heels in and tried to say it was fine. Like that.
It's fine. These studies show it's all fine. Who pays for the studies? The ESA, who is funded by the games industry.
Look, I don't want the government regulating video games. I want video games to be able to regulate themselves. But when they can't, and they're starting to overstep the boundaries in clearly more and more ridiculous ways, this is going to happen. And you've just got to kind of accept it as an inevitability. Like, when it's clearly going to happen and you're not doing anything about it, that's when I sit here and go, oh well. Like, you should have seen this coming. Rampant greed doesn't always net huge profits. Like, we might be entering a stage where, like, loot boxes might be banned by government legislation, and pay-to-win mechanics might be banned.
Yeah. Oh, it's pay to win. That's not something that games want to say about their game.
I mean, that's something that they try to avoid talking about, like, now. But then it'll be like, well, it can't be. Like, it can't be pay to win. Because they're talking about...
I'm just thinking about, like, a game I used to play, which was called MechWarrior Online. And the business model for that, because it was free to play, was that you could pre-purchase, like, you could purchase for real money the mechs, like, a month or two ahead of anyone who'd be wanting to buy it through in-game cash.
Yeah.
That you can earn. So under this, does that mean that they wouldn't be able to do that? Because I think that just crashed that entire game.
I think free-to-play games have to be very nervous right now because of the way they've chosen to adopt their selling models. Because cosmetics is fine. So the Just Cosmetics crowd will be very happy because they'll just be able. They won't be able to buy loot boxes to get cosmetics.
Yeah.
But they'll be able to buy cosmetics. They might fix Overwatch for me. Where I can just buy skins from a cash shop like I've always wanted to.
I'm just thinking about Blizzard because there is like other things on the cash shop, and changing your character's name, gender, or class, I don't suppose will be covered by any of this unless the legislation's very loose.
Yeah. I mean,
the Horde side is definitely improving your chances to win.
Yes, because the Horde rocks. Fuck the Alliance. But it is broad. It's broader than I thought it was going to be. Because it's minor-oriented games. In the quote, if the company has constructive knowledge that any users are under the age of 18.
Which everybody knows most, like, 18 shooters are played by people between about 36 and 8.
Everybody has constructive knowledge that a game like Call of Duty is being played by people who are under 18.
Yeah.
So they're not going to be able to use the defensive "it's an 18-rated game" or whatever the equivalent is in America. I don't know. Mature. It's a mature M-rated game. Like, they're not going to be able to say, well, it's an M-rated game. It's not aimed at kids, because the fire back will be, kids play it. We have constructive proof that kids play games. That kids play it.
It doesn't matter that kid and their parents are breaking the law.
Yeah.
It's
well, now they're breaking a different law. Like, now the company's breaking a law. The company's being held accountable. Not for the age thing, because it's not the company's fault if a parent buys a game for a kid. But it is the company's fault if a kid's playing a game that has loot boxes in it. That's... I mean... It's got bipartisan support. At a time when America can't get bipartisan support for any fucking goddamn thing. Like, they've got bipartisan support for this loot box bill. And that is what made me go from, oh, it'll take a few goes to get this through the Senate if they ever manage to do it, to, fuck, this might actually just go through.
But, like, it's only 3 senators, but there'll be people like, well, I suppose we can get this through. Maybe we can cooperate on other stuff.
Imagine if loot boxes brought the world together.
united in their hatred of loot boxes.
I would fucking
The
love
whole
that.
world came together and destroyed the game industry.
Like, because it all started with the backlash to Battlefront 2, would that make us like pioneers of like the united, like the unison of the world? Given that we were part of the backlash for loot boxes, we were part of the backlash so badly
You're
that I
making
got
us sound like
blacklisted.
hipsters. You're making us sound like hipsters. We hated this before it was cool.
We were part of no, like from my point of view, we were part of the backlash so badly that I got blacklisted by EA. And they don't send me emails anymore. Um, oh no, so I didn't get my review copy of Battlefront 2. um, crazy, crazy how fast this has all turned around. So I've got 2 PlayStation stories coming up, but I only want to really talk about one. I've decided
Okay.
looking at these.
That gives us balance.
I mean, you sound like Thanos for a second there.
I was actually thinking Star Wars, but whatever.
You could not live with your own failings, and where did that bring you? Back to me. Yeah, the one I don't really want to talk about because I feel like we talked about it a few weeks ago when it was in that news story was the PS5 next gen performance video. It's basically the thing we talked about where they were like, oh, load Spider-Man in less than a second on PS5.
Yeah.
And we were like, that's really cool. It's gonna be fucking expensive. And then they were like, there was a video that leaked where it was like, it was showing the loading of like the fast travel thing from Spider-Man. And as it was doing it, the PS5 one was just continuously like loading over and over again. And I was like, that's really cool. Still looks fucking expensive though.
Yeah.
The second one, which is kind of interesting, is Sony opens PlayStation Productions to develop multiple game franchises into TV and movies. This is from Tom Phillips over at Eurogamer, who writes, PlayStation Productions is a new studio set up by Sony to convert its video game franchises into blockbuster films and television. Its first slate of projects is already in production, according to Hollywood Reporter. The idea is PlayStation will leverage its own links to sister company Sony Pictures and work on adaptations in-house rather than farming franchises out to external studios and do it all better than some of the dodgy game-to-film adaptations of the past. Quote, you can see just by watching older video game adaptations that the screenwriter or director didn't understand that world or the gaming thing, Sony Interactive Entertainment boss Sean Layden said. It's also about keeping fans of PlayStation's big franchises engaged while waiting for another game in the series. Quote, when fans beat a 40 to 50 hour game and have to wait 3 to 4 years for a sequel, we want to give them places they can go and still have more of that experience and see the characters they love evolve in different ways. End quote. Layden also mentioned Marvel, because of course, as an inspiration and suggested he wanted to do for video games what Marvel had done for comic book hero films. Quote, we looked at what Marvel has done in taking the world of comic books and making it into the biggest thing in the film world. It would be a lofty goal to say we're following in their footsteps, but certainly we're taking inspiration from that. PlayStation has a decent IP catalogue to work from.
There are so many things to unpack from this.
I mean, don't make a PlayStation cinematic universe because your game franchises don't mesh that way. Like, you can't have The Last of Us exist in the same universe as God of War or Bloodborne. So don't do that. Jesus.
Yeah. I was going to say, name a few IPs that would make good films. Bloodborne.
I just named 3.
Yeah, Bloodborne would make a good film.
Would be an amazing film. Oh my god. I thought about it. It was weirdly enough, I had 2 thoughts straight away, and that was the first one. I was like, Bloodborne. Blood fucking born. Make it make it an animated film. Make it a fucking anime.
Yeah. I'm also thinking is The Last of Us is sort of like the zombie apocalypse version of Logan, but if they did that, then that would be a good and faithful adaptation, I would imagine.
Yeah.
You can show the story, but
I mean, you could have it be about Joel and Ellie. You could have it be about Joel. You could do a TV show about Joel before he met Ellie in that sort of time span between the beginning of the game and then where it picks up with him after basically after the world has fallen. But here's the second place my mind went. instantly. Do you remember last year, I think it was, those guys made the fan short film of Uncharted, starring Nathan Fillion, and it was incredible.
Yes. He's like, I remember it. I was like, I didn't watch that. I was like, wait, no, I did watch that.
You did, I made you.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
And Nathan Fillion. Nathan Fillion is the perfect casting for Nathan Drake, and that fucking thing proved me right. They've got to have hired that. That has to be a thing, right? They're talking about Hollywood Reporter's talking about PlayStation Productions already has stuff in development, right?
Mm-hmm.
This has to be a thing. This is like Star Trek with the Captain Pike and Spock and Number One from Discovery being its own spin-off. It's a no fucking brainer. Like it was so good.
Yeah, I mean, no brainers, but still, looks like that's I mean, let's cast our mind back to say, when another company tried something like this with one of their IPs.
Here's the thing, though. Wait, which company tried what with their IPs before I?
Microsoft and Halo.
I knew you were going to do it. I knew that. That's where I thought you were going. Here's the thing, though. Microsoft doesn't have a structure in place to make anything. Like, they had to start from scratch. And I'm assuming at some point between the Xbox One reveal and now that they were like, shit, like this is going to take a lot of work. And they just decided to focus on other things. But like it says in here, PlayStation Productions, like, because it's Sony and it's the big thing now, they have Sony films.
Yeah, I mean, they mentioned Marvel in that, and you do remember why that Sony's teamed up with Marvel for like the Spider-Man films and stuff. It's because they weren't making great films, and this is obviously an opinion of someone we know. But I've heard people discuss about the Venom film, which was made by Sony, which is they've described as hot garbage, but with some good bike shots.
Cool. Like, I mean, it's the I'm just talking about the infrastructure, right? Like,
they should have the infrastructure.
Like, because it sounds, because it's PlayStation Productions, it sounds like it's going to be a PlayStation-led initiative as opposed to a Sony Films-led initiative. So I'd have to think like, if they set it up as a division, it would be like PlayStation, Sony, PlayStation, like is like off from that, and then like off from that you would have PlayStation Productions. So the games arm would have control over what was going on. Like, if it turns out, Sony's just going to do all this stuff with Sony films, I was like, well, I don't know much about films and who makes them, but I'm pretty sure I haven't enjoyed a Sony film, Sony Pictures film in a few years. That wasn't Spider-Man. But no, man, like, I just think of all the places they could go, like, with the IPs that they own.
There is that other thing, which is like we've come across before when we've like discussed, because we have had that thing that's like name a good like video game adaptation for like a film.
Castlevania. You said film, you bastard.
And I can kind of do that now, though I haven't played the game. But it is that thing that's like a game is very different sort of. You've had these words of sort of like a game is very different media than a film. You have a sort of like a role in the game, whereas a film is like a different sort of art medium, so it can take a bit to transfer them between the different things.
It's the difference between an adaptation and, I don't know, translation. Like, you adapt it so that it's true to the source material, but not exactly like the source material.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't adapt it in a way where it's just like it's completely different, like to the point where it's like, what was the point? Like Resident Evil, like what was the point? Like, some of the character names were the same, but there was no bearing on it. Like, it could have just been anything that wasn't Resident Evil, and it wouldn't have made a difference. It's I mean, they're talking about like, I mean, they know, like Sean Layden even mentions it. They know that video game adaptations in the past have gone awry because people who make them don't really know anything about what they're adapting.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that's one pitfall that they already know how to avoid. Again, like my faith in this would be galvanized if if they did announce like, oh, you remember this Uncharted thing? We're making a TV show. Awesome. This gives me faith that you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, for all we know, that's what tripped it in the head to be like, wait.
Yeah.
If we do
It's
this
just like in a
ourselves?
couple of years' time when it's like, oh, I'll be rounded in there. I'm just watching the end of Uncharted. What you doing? I'm watching the end of The Witcher.
It's a golden age for adaptations. I think we may have finally turned that corner. Like, I haven't seen Detective Pikachu yet, but I've heard good things. And we've got Castlevania on Netflix,
Yeah.
which has been amazing.
Castlevania is an amazing TV show.
And
Yeah.
The Witcher is coming out on Netflix. That I haven't seen it yet. Can't comment. But if it's good, like, we may have turned that corner into the part of, okay, now we can finally start making good stuff. And PlayStation Productions is out, and I was like, here's a Bloodborne anime. And I just die on the spot. Because I can't handle how awesome everything is. That was a really fun discussion. I just thought we were going to talk about cool things PlayStation could make, but we had a really cool in-depth discussion about this, which is better. So we'll keep the PlayStation train rolling, because I've got a reference. I'm pulling from the old school here with some of the references that are coming up, because number 5, Ouya will be shut down for good on June 25th. This is from Chris Welch over at The Verge, who writes, the Ouya gaming service and all games on the platform will cease functioning on June 25th, Razer has announced. The date will mark the unremarkable end of what began as a runaway Kickstarter success story. The inexpensive Ouya mini console was powered by Android and introduced games such as Towerfall. But despite being positioned as an indie console, Ouya never quite took off after its $8.5 million crowdfunding campaign. The goal was to move Android's indie gaming scene to TV screens, with exclusive Ouya-only titles mixed in, but the execution didn't plan out. The hardware has been discontinued ever since Razer acquired Ouya's software assets in 2015, so it's somewhat surprising that the platform has still continued to plod along for nearly 4 additional years. But all that ends next month. Accounts will be deactivated on June 25th. After that, Razer says access to the Discover section will no longer be available. Games downloaded that appear in play may still function if they do not require a purchase validation upon launch. But by and large, games on the Ouya platform will stop working after the cutoff date. Razer notes that some developers might choose to help their Ouya customers by activating the same game on some other platform like Google Play, where available following the shutdown. Hey, remember when the Ouya was the future of video games? I remember. It was around about the same time as like consoles were going to die. And everybody was like, oh yeah, because everybody just wants to play games on their mobile. So here comes the Ouya, which is this tiny little box that you plug in and it plays all of the mobile games on your TV.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat there and I went, that sounds like one of the most unappealing things I've ever heard in my entire life.
Yeah.
Like, all of that. Consoles dying, mobile games, playing them on my TV. Like, nah.
Yeah, I was looking at my Switch and thinking, yeah, I can see playing Towerfall on that and big screen and little screen, but yeah.
But it's also a console that gives me not mobile games.
Yeah.
Like, it gives me more than mobile games. Like, how the fuck would you make an RPG on a friggin' Android that works on an Android phone? We're not there yet. Like, we will be.
Go back to 32-bit.
Fuck that. I mean, I love 32-bit games, but if that was all I had access to, I'd burn everything down to the ground. This was the PlayStation killer, man. That's what it was actually labeled at one point. It was the PlayStation killer, and it died quite quickly.
Yeah.
The thing about the everything just being turned off is fucking bullshit. Like, the games that you've bought, you won't be able to play. The console becomes a brick. Like, that's crap.
Let's be honest. There's a lot more life in that system than anyone really thought. And you can't really expect companies to keep something going forever.
This is my point is
Yeah.
that it's the same thing that would happen if Steam died.
Yeah.
It's bullshit that people who have bought games
Yeah.
can't play the games that they have bought.
Yeah, well, did I not read that you could still play it as long as it didn't require online validation or something?
Yeah. Players does not require a purchase validation upon maybe. They may still function. I don't know how mobile gaming works, but even Steam, you can't turn Steam into offline mode in perpetuity. Like you have to have it check in online at certain points. So that to me was a bit shitty. For like all the kicking I've given the Ouya over the years, like that part kind of sucked. Just in terms of games preservation as well. Like there'll be games on that system that didn't come out on anything else, and they will just disappear.
There may be like saved in some form of rubber on the Switch.
I doubt it. To be honest, the only game I can name from the Ouya was Towerfall.
Yeah.
Which was an Ouya exclusive when it first came out, and then they made Towerfall Ascension, brought it out on PS4, and the rest is history. Oh yeah. Milk it, Keith, because this is the last time we're probably going to be able to do an Ouya.
Yeah, I still believe that they got the name from that song.
Oh yeah, like I'd love to know. I'd love to know why they called it the Ouya.
I'm sure it'll turn up in the Jason's paper article at some point.
He's probably already working on it, right? Like the rise and fall of
Ouya. Not as long as the rise and fall of the Love Empire.
Not even as long as the BioWare Magic story. Anyway, well, it's more like sharp rise, long fall. That's not going to do it. We've got games out this week.
Indeed, we do. I'm looking at them.
You could tell that I just woke up right before the podcast. Keith, games out this week. On May 28th, we have a bunch of games. Blood and Truth comes out on PSVR. Oxygen Not Included finally launches out of early access on PC. EVE Online Invasion launches on PC. Cricket 19 launches on PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. And Layers of Fear 2 launches on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Do you want to tell us what comes out the rest of the week?
Yes, I certainly will. On May the 29th, we've got Conan Unconquered on PC, as well as Void Bastards on PC and Xbox One, and Drogan on PC, May 29th. On May the 30th, we've got Devious Dungeon on PC, Gato Roboto on PC and Switch. Amy tries not to laugh. Then we have on the 31st, Kodama, The Seven Mysteries of Fujima on PC, PS4, and Switch. And finally, probably the best game that's coming out this week, Prova Saves the Universe on PC, PS4, and PS4 VR. Oh, sorry, PSVR.
Can I say, I jumped into that immediately before you had a chance to say anything because I knew all of the difficult to pronounce games were in the second part. I was like, it's Draugen and Kodama, The Mysteries of Fujisawa. Yeah.
Okay, I've misread that.
You did. I figured you misread it as opposed to
it's like I saw the Fuji, and then I don't know why I changed the W to like an M and thought I did. Fujishima. I know why that is because it's a reactor.
Personally, I don't know. I don't know enough about any of these games to be like, this is the one that to look out for this week.
Yeah, I mean, I know you personally might have a great bit of interest in Layers of Fear too.
First one was.
But I have seen the whole Trova Saves the Universe with like Rick and Morty guy. So that one looked funny.
No, it does look funny. Dragon looks interesting. Void Bastards sounds cool, but nothing really like rises above everything else. Like the point where I go, that one.
Yeah.
But I'll be covering some of these games on Words Back Games, hopefully.
Yeah.
As long as I don't oversleep constantly. Yeah. Dude, Beat Saber came out last week. Officially on PC, so I'm doing that this week. And
Have you completed the League of Legends song flawlessly yet?
I'm not. No, I finished it on hard. That's as close as I'm gonna get. It took me, how long did it take me? Half an hour?
A little more, I think.
It's like an hour or something. I was same song. I want to fucking beat it. All for what, 50p a pound for charity.
Yeah.
Worth it. There was another game I'm doing. I can't remember what it is now. Splitgate. It's free on PC. It's Halo meets Portal. It's a competitive shooter. Yeah, exactly. That look. Exactly.
Here's an experiment.
So that's actually going to do it for this episode of The Words About Gamescast. Thank you for joining me, Keith. It's nice to have you back. We didn't have any technical issues. Your internet didn't cut out. You looked really crisp and clear, like, for most of the podcast. Like, it's a technical thing. This has probably been the best one you've had for a while. So,
cool.
like, whatever your brother did when he was fixing shit.
Turned off automatic updates.
Tell him to keep doing that. 10 out of 10.
Then we'll go to Windows 10 at some point and everything will go wrong.
10 out of 10 would podcast again. Oh, say bye, Keith.
Bye.